Hello, today we're going to learn how to create this kind of mathematical equation animation in Blender. So we go to Blender and the first thing we do is we install the types importer extension. And when we have this installed, we can run this kind of Python script and we will get a formula. And this is the proof of the PQ formula for quadratic equations, and now we want to make a nice animation out of this. So the animation will take place in this first plane here, and we have now a tool of operators which we can use to manipulate this equation. The first thing that we want to do is we want to align the equal signs, and here I have a new operator called align collection, and when I press this one, then these two equal signs are on top of each other. There's another one called align object. When I press this one and this one, then only this one equal sign would be aligned, but when I press align collection, then this looks like this. And here in the outlier, you can see that every step of the equation is one collection. So let's do this for the rest of these equations. You can also select multiple ones, and the last selected one will be the one that will be aligned to. So here I have now all my equation nicely aligned. And now it's time to start animating. So when I go to this 0, I can now, for example, use this operator, and this is the fade out operator. It automatically inserts keyframes, and when I go through this one, I can see the opacity changes, and even here is another keyframe which toggles the visibility. So after this point, I cannot even select this object anymore. And this is just a small look under the hood. When I go to item, to properties, I can see here is the opacity and here is the visibility, which are both controlled by keyframes. And when I go to the geometry nodes tab, I can see here this is a simple switch node which enables or disables the visibility, and for the opacity I have this shading here where I have transparent and an emission shader which I mix by the opacity value. Okay, with this in mind, we can start animating more objects, and the next thing I want to do is I want to fade in this minus sign here. Here is a fade in to plane, to animation plane operator, and when I call this one, it makes a copy of this minus sign. It places this at z equals 0, which is where all the animation is happening. And when I go now here in the timeline, I can see, okay, this is actually coming. Nice. The next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this plus sign so I can fade this one out. And last but not least, I want to make transform this queue into this queue. And here I can use the arc and follow operator. And now I can see this Bezier curve, and it follows my animation. I can also try the same thing with different parameters. And depending on how I want the animation to look like, this will give me a lot of control. Okay, I will go with this one, and I can hide also the Bezier curve. And I have this animation now. One interesting thing about this is that this queue and this queue and the queue which is here are not the same ones, but they are 3 different objects, and this makes it easier to use geometry nodes. So here, for example, is the geometry nodes tree to follow the curve. Okay, next I will go to the timeline and enable this feature so that I can see all my channels. I can also enable the channels here. so I can see all my keyframes. Now step 2 is complete, and now we want to animate to step 3. And here I have these symbols here, which I want to place now here. So what I do is I insert a keyframe here, and I go to frame 22. And now one by one I select them and press Ctrl F, or I can also call align object, that's the same. Sorry, Shift F, it's Shift F. And one by one I can move them where they belong. Insert another keyframe, and here they are. Next I want to get these ones here. So I say fade into animation plane. I also want to fade this one into the animation plane. And here we go. Let me increase the number of frames so that we can see all of this happening. And when I press now play, we get this nice animation. Okay, this step is done as well, and I now want to select all these ones, GZ, move them a bit forward. And here I want to now convert this queue into this queue. And these are two objects, so I can also join them, which makes the animation a bit easier later. And here I have also two objects, but this one still has keyframes from before. And when I would join them, this would also affect, then the keyframes of this one would affect the keyframes from here. So I have another operator called copy with no keyframes. I press it here and I press it here. So now I have a new object. And when I join these two ones, oh, I want to join them the other way around. First this one, then this one, join. So the origin is where I want to have it. And when I select this one and go one frame backwards, then I can see these are two objects, and here we have one object. Cool. Now I can press select these two ones, generate my arc again. This will do this animation here. I can get rid of my plus sign. In this case, I want to just toggle off the visibility. I could also fade it out, but this is just personal preference. And now I will deselect this Bezier curve. I will insert a keyframe here. And now I will do the same strategy of moving these elements one by one to this side. Okay, now I have to see that I don't use the minus sign by accident, but this one is the one I want. Okay, insert another keyframe here, and here we go. Okay, this one is a bit more involved. I want to fade all these elements where they belong. So, for example, this 2 should go here. Then the P should go here. The plus should go here. This plus should also go here. Then the X, let's move this one from the other side, another X. And finally, I insert a keyframe for the bracket. And when I move it to this side, I can align this one here. Insert a keyframe. Deselect all my Beziers. And also this animation is looking quite nice now. now we are already at the last two steps. And the first thing I want to do here is, here I have now two 2's on top of each other. One is coming from the animation, one was there before. So what I do is I just turn off the visibility of one. So now only one is remaining. And first thing, I fade out this 2. I also want to fade out this bracket here. I want to fade out this bracket here. And here we have the same problem with the two P's on top of each other. So I I turn off the visibility of this P. I turn off the visibility of this X, of this plus. And now I can insert a keyframe here. Move all my objects. Insert another keyframe, and what we have now is something that looks like this. Now we are already at the last few steps. Okay, so here I want to move all these things towards the right side, and here I can do another trick because this is all the same. I join. Okay, I have to first select this one, then select all the other ones and press on join. And here I copy again without keyframes, so that that the animation doesn't interact with the previous keyframes. I join this one to a group. Insert a keyframe for this group. Align these two equations. Another keyframe. And these elements can also be joined. And I want to fade this one in. Maybe this one should come a bit earlier so that it's, but for now this is fine. And now we're at the last steps. One is I insert a keyframe here. Then I move this one. Okay, this works. Now I want to fade in this minus sign. I fade out this plus sign. insert a keyframe here, move the X where it belongs, insert another keyframe. Then I fade in these two numbers. I get rid of this Bezier curve and toggle this visibility off. And now I think we're good to go with our animation. I hope you find this useful, and if you like this tutorial, let me know in the comments what you want to animate next, and see you in the next one.